Hello, I'm David Carter. I'm the author of this classical workbook. I want to give you some ideas on how you might use it. I assume you've just finished the Cambridge Latin or the Oxford Latin course and you're now reading real Latin poetry for the first time. Now, if this is the case, you're going to find that the Latin in this book is harder, much harder, than any Latin you've ever met with before. So the strategy of the book is that we give you the English meaning of each Latin word up front, right at the beginning. And then the book will go on to explain to you how the Latin arrives at this meaning. To show you what I mean, would you go to page 49 please, near the back. Okay, so here's page 49 on the screen. Perhaps you should set YouTube to full screen so you can read it more easily. Now it's divided into two, right and left. Let's look at the right hand side first. Here we simply have the Latin text double spaced. So I read the first line, Hinc via Tartarii quae fert Acherontis arundas. And on the left hand side we have at the top an English sentence. From here is a road which bears towards the waters of Tartarian Acheron. And underneath each English word we have the corresponding Latin word. Hinc via quae fert adundas Tartarii Acherontis. Notice the English word, for example, is in brackets, and that's because there's no corresponding Latin word. In the Latin text, est has been omitted, as often happens. So you can see we've taken each Latin word and attached an English meaning to it. And I would suggest the first thing you should do is to fix in your brain each Latin word to its English meaning. Now the best way I suggest is to read out each Latin word aloud together with its English meaning. So we'll do that now for the first couple of sentences. Hinc, from here. Via, a road. Quae, which. Fert, bears. Adundas, towards the waters. Tartarii, of Tartarian. Acherontis, Acheron. Hic, here. Turbidus, a violent gurges, whirlpool. Aestuat, seethes. Kaino, with mud. Que, and. Vasta, an immense. Voragine, depth. Atque, and. Eructat, disgorges. Omnem, all. Harenam, its sand. Cocyto, into Cocytus. Okay, now go over to the right and read out aloud the first couple of sentences of the Latin. Hinc via Tartarii quae fert Acherontis arundas. Turbidus hic caeno vastaque voragine gurges aestuat. Ad comnem Cocyto eructat harenam. Now I think you'll find as you read the Latin, you now know what some of the words mean. And if you go back to the left and reread the Latin English once or twice more, when you go back to the right and read the original Latin, you'll now find you know in your head what all the Latin words mean. Now, obviously it doesn't mean you understand all the grammar and so on, but this is a very good lead-in. It's a very quick and simple way of helping you to get to grips with the Latin in the first place. By the way, a brief point about the English translations. They are as literal as I can make them. So in the line that's second from bottom, the English reads, to him a very much unkempt grisliness lies on his beard. Now that's pretty strange English, but it's purely to help you work out each Latin word. So cui is dative of qui quae quod, it means for whom or to whom. While plurima is superlative feminine of multus, multus plus plurimus, and equals most or very much. So it's purely there to help you work out the individual Latin words. But even though the overall translation seems very strange, please remember the Latin in exactly these words. Don't change them into proper English. Now, that's a very important point. Different languages handle the same thing in different ways, and it's very important that you come to recognize this and are comfortable with it. So while it may seem odd as a piece of English, you need to understand that as a piece of Latin, this is perfectly normal. By the way, I'm sorry, there's a misprint here. Jacet mento does not mean lies on his beard, it means lies on his chin. So can you please correct this in your books? Sorry about that. Okay, so I would suggest the first thing you should do is to work your way through the entire text and fix the meaning of the Latin words in your head this way. It's 12 pages of text, say half an hour a page, that might take you 6 hours. And by the end of that time, you'll now know the Latin text well enough to move on to the next phase. You can see what that involves in the second video.